The next wave of Fantastic Tames creatures has arrived to the Arks with the addition of the Burrowbuck. This Fantastic Tames Season 1 DLC pack has been announced to contain 3 creatures, the Burrowbuck being the first one of 3 new Fantastic Tames to arrive on our screens. The other 2 have been announced as Cerberax and Enigmasaur and will be released later this year, although they're all included in the purchase price of the Season 1 Fantastic Tames DLC. Burrowbuck looks like an oversized bunny with a fantastic set of antlers, closely resembling the mythical creature called a jackalope. Now, as you may expect, a large bunny is not an amazing fighter. However, as you may have guessed, these bunnies can really move and possess abilities that allow them to cross the map in the blink of an eye. That is not to say that wild Burrowbuck are a total pushover when angered, and you may just find yourself falling for one of their many tricks when you encounter them, especially if they're guarding a baby. Yes, you heard that correctly. The wild Burrowbuck do spawn with wild babies that you can claim for yourself once you have tamed the parent or aided the parent in meeting their early demise. The Burrowbuck spawns all over the Arks, and I have found them in almost all biomes except in the snow. On Scorched Earth, Burrowbuck are found all over the middle of the map, but not in the dunes. On Aberration, Burrowbuck spawn in the green zone, but may wander off the edge into the blue zone. On Extinction, look for Burrowbuck in the city and down in the sunken forest. On the center, look for Burrowbuck in the center of the map and to the west. For Ragnarok, look in all of the green zones and in the redwoods. On Valguero, you will find Burrowbuck in most of the jungles and in the White Cliffs. And on Australios, I found Burrowbuck all around the main islands of Fokintos, Corinthos, Lemnokis and Pyranthos. However, no Burrowbuck were found spawning on the island or in the snowy landscapes of Lost Colony. You don't need to be any particular level before attempting to tame a Burrowbuck of your very own. However, to ride it you will require a saddle which is unlocked at level 33 for 15 engram points. The Burrowbuck saddle can be made in the smithy and you will need 80 fiber, 150 hide, 2 metal ingots and 10 cementing paste. Let's just take a moment to appreciate this saddle. It is so pretty with all of the little hanging beads and detailing all over. I especially love the addition of the whip with the bedroll with the tools, and I do wish that the pickaxe in Ark looked a lot more like the one stashed away on the Burrowbuck saddle. Since this bunny is a digger, this is very fitting to the theme, and the little leather booties that the Burrowbuck wears are a very nice little touch that we also don't see often. To tame your Burrowbuck, I would suggest you grab your best set of ghillie armor and maybe even invest in some cactus broth if you want to put bunny taming into easy mode. Alternatively, if you have access to a gloon, their camouflage ability comes in super handy when attempting a Burrowbuck tame, as they can obscure you from the skittish bunny's view. This bunny requires a bit of preparation in order to grow their favorite snack. You guessed it, rock carrots! If you are on a map that has wild growing carrots like Ragnarok, Valguero and Australios, or are lucky enough to find some in a supply drop, you can skip this step. Make sure that you have your garden going strong and a good supply of carrots in the fridge before attempting the tame. If for some reason you don't have access to rock carrots, you can use superior kibble or above as taming food, and if you are really in a pinch, you can resort to mejoberries. But do bear in mind that using mejoberries will take a very long time and may just not be worth the hassle. Now that we are prepared, the hardest part is to go in search of the ideal Burrowbuck to tame. If at all possible, do try to find one in a safe area or at least in an area where you are able to kill off any threats with ease. It is not necessary to isolate the bunny you want to tame from the rest of the herd. However, if a baby is nearby, the whole colony might just turn aggressive towards you. So bear that in mind and steer clear of any angry mama bunnies. The Burrowbuck will move around while you are taming, so be prepared to fight off anything that puts your bunny friend in danger, as getting hit will make him lose all taming progress. Once your area is secure, swap to your ghillie armor and place your rock carrots in the 0 slot of your hotbar. Now you just need to approach the Burrowbuck carefully and feed it a rock carrot. I suggest that you crouch up to your bunny of choice when you get close, as this seems to work best. When close, simply look for the prompt to feed your taming food. From here on out, the tame becomes much easier as the Burrowbuck will now have a little taming progress tracker that shows you exactly where it is. Once you feed the taming food to your bunny, he will dig a tunnel and burrow away from you, kicking dust up into your face, which will blind you for a few seconds. When you have recovered, simply look for the taming tracker and make your way towards the bunny's new location before repeating the steps. The Burrowbuck goes invisible for a few seconds between feeds if it manages to catch you in its dust. So don't be alarmed if you can't see the bunny immediately. The Burrowbuck can move quite far between feeds, so make sure that your new area is safe before proceeding to feed your next carrot. You can have a shoulder tame with you, but make sure that it is on passive and try to keep any of your own tamed creatures well away from the bunny, as they do startle easily and will dash away. If you have one, a Pyromane is very useful for bunny taming, as you can quickly move to the new area and once there, pop the fire kitty back on your shoulder without having to worry about it being in the way. While you are taming your Burrowbuck, look out for the dirt mounds that they will dig up periodically. These are false burrows, and going too close will cause your survivor to fall into the Burrowbuck's trap. If you do fall into a Burrowbuck trap, just attack to free yourself a little bit faster, as you will be immobilized until the timer runs out. Coincidentally, these burrows are also the easiest way to know for sure that the Burrowbuck is around somewhere. After a few feeds, depending on the server settings you are playing on, your Burrowbuck will be tamed and ready for adventure. Now you can saddle your new friend and hop off on a new expedition together. The Burrowbuck is quite fast, especially when jumping. And while in the air, your Burrowbuck can perform a double jump. Holding the spacebar will charge up your jump. You can see the bunny is charging its jump because the fluffy little tail will wag around wildly in anticipation. Something cool to note is that your Burrowbuck can change direction in mid-air with every jump. So if a jump is not going to land exactly where you imagined, you have time to pick a new path and jump to safety before hitting the ground. Although the Burrowbuck is clearly not designed to be a fighter, it is not completely defenseless and is equipped with a left-click bite and headbutt attack. This attack can also harvest berries and break trees for thatch and wood. It also has a passive ability when jumping. Anything chasing the Burrowbuck too closely gets dirt kicked into their eyes, increasing the damage taken from enemy Burrowbuck and obscuring the escaping Burrowbuck for a duration. Right-click will make your Burrowbuck dig down and obscure itself with dirt camo when it comes back up. This will hide you and your bunny from enemy view for a few seconds to allow for an easy getaway. There is a bit of a cooldown on this ability, so time it wisely. The Burrowbuck can place down 3 different burrow types, and you can swap between them with the X key. The type of burrow currently selected is indicated above your hotbar and to the right. The trap option will allow you to place 3 fake burrows, just like the ones the Burrowbuck naturally makes. These are little fall pits, and depending on the drag weight of the enemy creature, it will trigger the trap and fall into it, being immobilized for a little while. Enemies that are too large will not fit into the traps, so don't expect to catch any titanosaurs in your bunny pits. These traps are temporary, and after 12 hours, they will be destroyed if not already triggered. The Burrowbuck can also dig a hidey hole, which is a little temporary burrow in the ground where you can safely hide from any threats above. Once your hidey hole is dug out, simply press C again at the entrance to enter it. You have a bit of space to build down here, and this works very well as a temporary refuge while you are on a taming spree or even out farming or battling through caves, as no enemies can reach you. Your tribe mates, however, can come and go as they please. To exit the hidey hole again, go up to the entrance and press C again to be teleported back out. Each player can only have one hidey hole active at a time, and if you want to move it to a new location, you will need to destroy the old one. When your hidey hole is dug out, wait for the cooldown timer to end while moving to a new location. Here, you can now place an entrance. which is a secondary entry or exit point for your hidey hole. You can use both entrances to enter the same hidey hole. And if you want to exit by popping out of the secondary entrance, simply tap R. This is extremely useful if you are doing a cave run or a metal run, or anything away from home really, as this allows you a way to essentially fast travel back home for supplies, or to drop off loot, before traveling back in the wink of an eye to continue the adventure further. The amount of times that I have wished for something like this, that does not rely on a power tech generator being nearby, and doesn't require you to lose all of the stuff on your character when you travel, is astonishing. And I am really super excited to use these on my adventures from now on. The hidey hole is not permanent though, so keep that in mind when you build or keep anything down there. Digging a new entrance will also destroy the old one that you have placed, so you can keep digging new entrances all the way on your adventure while having your hidey hole close to your base for a quick trip back and forth. If your hidey hole is destroyed while you have items and structures inside, they will be lost along with it. This counts for all loot in storages as well. However, if a tame is left inside the hidey hole while it is destroyed, that tame will just pop up to the surface above where the burrow was before it was destroyed. The last ability is a gateway system. Each Burrowbuck rider can have 6 gateways active at any given time. Gateways are essentially a teleporter system, and you can teleport you and your tames between them by hopping off your mount and interacting with the gateway. You then simply need to choose your end location and prepare to be transported across the arc. Gateways are temporary just like any other Burrowbuck burrow, so make sure that you plan your adventures well if you want to use them for travel. The one other caveat, apart from the burrows being temporary structures, is that there is a limit to the size of the creature that can fit through the Burrowbuck's underground travel system. This is based on creature drag weight, and any creatures who are simply too big and heavy will not be able to use the network for travel. So double check if your creature can enter before bargaining on the Burrowbuck's network for traversal on every mount. The burrows are also linked to a player and not necessarily to a singular Burrowbuck. So if you dig your hidey hole with Burrowbuck 1 and swap out to Burrowbuck 2, you will not be able to dig another hidey hole again. The same applies to traps, entrances and gateways as well. And if your Burrowbuck dies or is placed in a cryopod, it does not have any effect on the dugout burrows, and they will still be usable until they expire. As expected, the Burrowbuck can be bred, and the babies are some of the cutest little creatures that we have on the ark to date. I can't wait to experience a mutated Burrowbuck with a few traits stacked up, as these guys may just encourage a whole lot more land travel because they truly are so fun to hop around on. The Burrowbuck is really a fantastic tame and is going to shake up how we play from here on out. I adore everything about the model, from the little wiggly nose right down to the glittery toenails, especially the little details that make the Burrowbuck really feel like a bunny. The fast breathing and the wide eyes really look like a nervous little critter that is just about to run for the hills at any given moment. I also had a good laugh for the first time my new Burrowbuck dropped 4 bunny pallets in one go, much like a real bunny rabbit does. My dung beetles are going to love the new additions to the family. I hope that you found this little Burrowbuck guide useful. Have fun out there digging burrows and hopping around the arcs. Until next time, survivor, tot ziens en lekker speel!